guess what? I'm in a reading slump. I know. And the culprit, I think, is Love Island. A new episode coming every night with the drama that we are experiencing. It's all I can think about. And I think it's like just spiraling me into a reading slump because like a book isn't giving me the drama that I want. And it just is really hard when nothing is captivating me, especially with this summer. I have so many romance books that I want to get through that I'm so excited about, and I literally don't feel captivated by any of them. So I want to make a video trying to get out of a reading slump. I have some ideas of what I am thinking I might do to help this. My first one, I picked up Swift and Saddled by Lyla Sage. I read the first book of this. I loved it. I ate it up. It was so good. This one is sadly facing the effects of a reading slump. I ended up on what day was it? On Monday, I ended up reading a ton. I read over like 100 pages of this. I'm like well over halfway through the book. I'm enjoying it, but I feel like this one is a little bit more insta-lovey than what I necessarily like. Granted, this is like a 285 page book, so like things gotta move kind of quick, but I'm not enjoying this as much as I enjoyed the first book. I felt like the romance in the first book made a little bit more sense than what we're kind of experiencing with this one, but it's Lyla Sage. I love how she writes, and my intent with going into this book was that it was a short book, around 285 pages. I would get through it really fast. Her writing is really fast paced. I really like the world we're in. So I figured finishing a book quickly might help with my reading slump. I don't necessarily think it is. Like, I'm not sitting around kind of thinking about this book, wanting to pick it up. I'm trapped in the cycle of Love Island, honestly. I don't think this is helping me get out of my reading slump. So my intent with this was like, it's a series I'm in the middle of. I'm familiar with the world. I like the world. I like the side characters. I like the main character. We had met Wes in the book prior, but we hadn't met Ada yet. I don't know. I don't think it's hitting. So I'm going to try finishing this book. I'm going to read a lot tonight because it's Wednesday and we don't have an episode of Love Island to watch. And then Thursday, I'm off for the holiday. So I'm gonna try and finish this book, and from there I have a plan for my next book, which I will tell you guys after I finish this one. I finished Swift and Saddled by Lyla Sage, and I wanted to share my thoughts with you guys. I did end up giving this book 3 stars, and I do think it kind of felt the brunt of my reading slump, if I'm to be fully honest. I absolutely loved Done and Dusted, the first book in this series, so I was really hoping that this book would kind of help me claw my way out of a reading slump. It is fast-paced. These books are like just about 300 pages. You can get through them really fast. It does not take a lot of brain power to read these books. This one is about Ada and Wes. Wes is living on his family's ranch, and he wants a project for himself on the ranch. So he's decided to take the old big house, or the big old house, however they say it, I can't remember. But that house was a house that one of his parents grew up in. And they ended up building a new house on the ranch, but they left the original structure. So he's looking to renovate it to turn it into like an inn, a bed and breakfast. And so he's hired an interior designer who is Ada. And Ada is taking a bit of an untraditional path with interior design. She ended up failing out of her interior design school. So she's trying to take as many projects as she can and build her portfolio and get her name out there. So Wes hired her. And they ended up running into each other at the dive bar in town and had kind of a steamy connection at first. They didn't know that Wes was her boss. The next day when she went to work, she saw the attractive cowboy that she ran into at the bar. So from there, they keep having kind of romantic run-ins with each other. They definitely feel a connection, but Ada has put a big stop to it because Ada was previously married and in honestly a toxic marriage. She was very controlled. She felt like she lost a lot of her identity. So coming out to Wyoming and starting interior design career, she is very focused on her ability to be independent, and it makes her nervous to get into a relationship with somebody because she doesn't want to lose that. So we're navigating that, as well as Ada being employed through Wes. So I do want to try rereading it again out of my reading slump. I do think I will give it a higher rating. I love Lyla Sage and her books. They are so immersive. I love how she writes cowboy romances. I'm so critical of them, and I am just eating these up. I'm going to continue reading the rest of the series, but I don't think this book helped me get out of a reading slump. So I have another solution to try and help me with that. I'm going to try reading a book kind of outside of what I normally read, and that's going to be a graphic novel. I'm going to try reading volume 4 of Heartstopper. I absolutely love these books. I'm very hopeful that getting through something even faster paced than Swift and Saddled, like a graphic novel, I can read this book in about 2 hours. So I'm hoping getting through something faster paced, getting that satisfaction of finishing something quickly, and especially reading about characters that I just really love. I hope that's gonna help. We're gonna see. So I will keep you guys updated on my thoughts about this book, and I'll see you in the next clip. I didn't think this book would make me emotional, and it's made me emotional. I finished Heartstopper Volume 4. I loved this one. This is the first one I've actually given 4 stars. The other ones I've given like 4.5 stars. This one's 5 stars. This was my favorite of all of the volumes so far. I felt like it covered very difficult topics that are very realistic for a significant amount of teenagers and teenage boys. I felt like this book very beautifully shined a light on mental health and mental health for teenagers. I also really love the artwork in this. I felt like we had more of a plot in this one than some of the other ones. Like, the other ones were much more lighthearted. The start of Nick and Charlie's relationship, their adventures, the milestones within their relationships. And now we're hitting a part where Nick and Charlie are getting older. They're experiencing different things with life. They're experiencing different things with mental health. They're just growing up. And I felt like we dove deeper into Nick and Charlie as characters. I never felt as though they were necessarily two-dimensional. They became very three-dimensional in this book. We just learned so much about them, about their families. Like, I just thought this one was very beautifully done. I am so excited to go into the 5th book. I'm already catching up a little bit on the show because I stopped after I finished volume 3. I'm gonna watch all the episodes for volume 4. And then eventually I'll read volume 5, but I really love these books. They're definitely ones that I'm going to continue reaching for and rereading. I just think Nick and Charlie have such a great relationship, and it's an adorable story. I just wanted to come on here, give you guys my rating and a little bit of my review. Don't mind my wet hair, but I'm starting the second part to my solution to getting over a reading slump, and that is rereading one of my 5-star books. I picked a funny story. I've been wanting to reread this since Great Big Beautiful Life came out. It is literally my favorite Emily Henry book ever, if not my favorite romance book ever. Like, I relate so much to Daphne, and Miles is literally top tier book boyfriend. Their banter, Miles's wittiness is like at a different level than anything she's literally ever written, and honestly better than any romance book that I've ever read. This is literally just like one of my absolute favorite books ever. I've been highlighting it and tabbing it. You can see some of my tabs there. but I've highlighted this edition. So like I literally have the hardcover edition that I read. I have a special edition from Afterlight, and then I have this one because the rest of my Emily Henry collection, other than, well, like my hard copy of Funny Story and my hard copy of Great Big Beautiful Life, is paperback. So I wanted like the paperback set, and this is also like my favorite book ever. I've literally read this book before. I know exactly how it ends. I know exactly what's going on. Tell me why I am still crying my eyes out. Saying this out loud is making me like stop crying and like laugh at myself. But like, why does it hurt so bad? And is it incredibly excessive to literally highlight an entire page? Okay, I'm gonna end this clip and cry off the internet. So I read Funny Story as like a reread of one of my favorite books, a 5-star book. This is a 6-star book. This isn't everything. This is my soul is written in this book, and I absolutely love it and devour it and cannot get enough of it. It's my favorite thing ever. Miles is actual perfection. Daphne, I understand her on a level I never thought I would understand a fictional character. It's just amazing the way that Emily Henry is just able to write and connect with people and write about such like moving experiences and character development. It's just crazy. So Miles and Daphne know each other because their exes are now dating. So Miles was dating Petra, Daphne was dating Peter. Peter and Petra were childhood friends. Daphne and Peter were engaged, and he leaves Daphne for Petra. So Daphne moves in with Miles, and they end up developing a friendship because Miles finds out that she, Daphne, is planning on moving out of Michigan, Waning Bay area. Not that Waning Bay is real. Why did I say Waning Bay area? But Daphne is going to move away from Waning Bay, Michigan, back home closer to her mom. And he's like, heck no, I really like you as a friend. You're gonna see Michigan. Like, this is not going to be a situation where you've moved for this boy and he dumps you and you're restarting your life. Like, your life can still be here even after you've ended it with him. So it's just a fun adventure of us learning about the town of Waning Bay, all the people. Daphne is developing friendships. She has a lot of major trust issues towards people because of her experiences through childhood with her dad, as well as her mom moved around frequently. So Daphne didn't experience a lot of long-term friendships and just kind of developed a wall of feeling like, you know, why am I opening myself up for people if they're just going to move on from me and I'm going to move on from them? So we're navigating her experiences with moving on from that past trauma. And Miles is amazing. And Daphne is amazing. Oh my God. Hold on. I saw something at the end of this edition. Oh my God. This literally, okay, this is even better. This is even more perfect because I absolutely love art, and book cover design was something that I was actually looking into for a little bit, and I want to dive into it more as like a hobby than like a career. It's the process for making the cover. Are you freaking kidding me? It was even better, I think, the second time because I knew walking into it I was going to enjoy it. It helped to like have that reassurance that I felt that way about the book, so I was really just able to devour it and like pay attention to things that like I hadn't paid attention to that as much. But I wanted to read you guys some of my favorite quotes from it, and I'm gonna try and pick the ones that aren't going to like give spoilers. But one of my absolute top favorite quotes. Daphne and Miles just got into a fight, and Daphne is upset, and she's walking around and she's noticing these things about town and these people like in their lives. And this is like a sentence in the middle of a paragraph, but it is literally my favorite sentence in the entire world, like in everything that Emily's probably ever written. In the way their favorite candle scent will gradually infuse the walls, so that every time they come back from a trip, exhausted, and dump their bags inside the door, they'll smell that they're where they belong. Like, the sentence after it is all those moments throughout the days, weeks, months that don't get marked on the calendars with hand-drawn stars or little stickers. Those are the moments that make a life. Not grand gestures, but mundane details that over time accumulate until you have a home instead of a house. The things that matter, the things I can't stop longing for. There's only one place that feeling exists for me, only one person with whom I belong. I want to push as hard as possible against all the bruises in my heart until it changes me, until I learn to stop fucking everything up. It's being pulled away from watching the frost melt on the living room window to make stovetop hot cocoa from a packet, and that last tight hug at the end of the airport security line, and packing up cardboard boxes knowing I'll always have what I need no matter how much I leave behind. It's just, he shakes his head, you always assume I'm being so selfless, like it hasn't occurred to you I might want to hang out with you. So when you turn me down, I have to figure out if you just don't feel the same way or if you think you're doing me some kind of favor, and I never can. I scan the stuff in question. What am I waiting for? This, I think, them. To not be alone, to have friends bear witness to the death of this dream. I don't think there's a right way to feel, I say, and you can't control it anyway. Feelings are like the weather. They just happen and then they pass. My hand involuntarily clenches into the fabric of his shirt, like that will do any good. Protect him from anyone who doesn't understand what kind of gift he is. I snort. I'm more of a cranky pessimist, and we both know it. You moan every time you eat, he says. I don't think you're as pessimistic as you think. Guys, I just love this book. It's absolutely, unbelievably, disgustingly perfect in every way possible. So 2 5-star books, back to back, I guess. I mean, I read this 5-star book a year ago, but I still don't think I'm fully out of my reading slump. Last night when I was reading and like finishing Funny Story, I had deleted TikTok, and there were a few times I picked it up and like picked up my phone, and I knew I was like wanting to get that dopamine rush from like social media, and I put my phone back down because I deleted said dopamine rush, and I was like, what am I looking at on social media right now? What am I trying to find? What am I trying to see that is so important for me right now? So I asked myself every time, and I put my phone down, and I ended up getting so much reading done. So I'm going to try another prompt. I don't know if prompt is the right word for these. I'm going to try another solution idea, and that's going to be reading a book in a genre I'm not really reading that much right now. I have been reading so much romance this summer because I love a good beachy summer romance. I love the atmospheric vibes, but I'm getting bored of them right now, and I think it's because I've read so many back to back. So I'm gonna try a historical fiction. Last time I read this author, she helped me get out of a reading slump. And you might be wondering, Allison, who is that author? It is the one and the only Kristin Hannah. I'm going to read The Women by Kristin Hannah. My Libby hold is ready, and I'm ready to read this book. She helped me get out of the last one with The Nightingale. I'm going to see if she helps me get out of this one with The Women. I feel myself like clawing my way out of it, kind of, you know, especially with deleting like TikTok. It really helped me like refocus and be like, get off social media, you know? But I'm gonna try this, see how I feel about it. I'm a little bit scared and intimidated because I feel like it's a little bit of a longer book, which kind of shows me that I don't think I'm fully out of a reading slump, because like I'm worried I'm immediately gonna be bored, if that makes sense. If you've ever been in a reading slump, I think you get what I mean, where like you're nervous about walking into a book you know is gonna be good and you're not gonna like it because you're just not in the mood for anything, you know? We're gonna try The Women. I will try and keep you guys updated on it. I'm very nervous. So I'm still in my reading slump. As much as I really love Funny Story and I was really hopeful that it would help me get out of this reading slump, it just didn't fully get me out. So I'm trying to read a book that is like out of my usual genre. So like I said, I picked up The Women by Kristin Hannah. I don't think I'm in the frame of mind for this book. It's a really, really sad book. It's set in Vietnam. It's about a woman who is a nurse who ends up volunteering to go to Vietnam to help the war. And there she's just discovering a lot of things that the media is not covering about it. It's just a very tragic and heartbreaking story. I just don't think I'm in the frame of mind for it right now. And it's just one of those books that I know a lot of people love. It's very, very impactful. So I'm gonna put this on hold. It's not like a proper DNF because I know I'm gonna get back to it when I'm able to like digest the message of the story. So I picked up Red Queen. If you have been watching my videos, you know that I've been trying so hard to get into this book. I'm 91 pages in. I see why it's been hard for me to get into the book. I'm not loving it. I feel like right now there is just a significant amount of plot holes that just don't make a significant amount of sense to me. I feel like we're jumping from one thing to the next without a ton of context, and I know that Mare isn't getting necessarily a lot of context herself, but to some extent it just feels like a significant amount of plot holes. Victoria Aveyard, I follow her on social media. I love the things that she posts. I just don't know how I feel about this book. I know she has like another series. I'm not sure if it's completed, and I know she's working on one right now that's like a pirate kind of like fantasy. I think what also is throwing me is that this book was written when dystopian novels were pretty big. I just am not vibing with dystopian anymore. So there's fantasy aspects to this, but then there's things where they talk about electricity and like factories and things like that, and it just like takes me out because like I want to be in a bigger fantasy world than like what we're getting from this. I want to continue trying, but I also just know that I'm probably not going to rate this book very high. So I'm also like, I'm in a reading slump. I know I'm not going to rate this really high. Do I need to move on to something else to like help me? I was thinking I would try like another romance book because I have like Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood that I want to get to and some other things, but like I'm just not entirely in the mood for them either. Like I picked those books up and I'm just like not entertained. So I'm gonna keep trying to read Red Queen today and see what happens. I'll probably give you guys an update on what I am planning on doing and maybe end out the vlog after that. So I didn't film myself reading very much of Red Queen, and that is because I didn't like it. Unfortunately, if you guys know anything about the lore of me and this book, I bought this when I was still living in my apartment in Bowling Green, and I ended up donating it before I moved out to California. Completely forgot that I ever owned this book and have repurchased it. And I've had trouble getting into this book and wanting to read it, and I should have just like looked at the signs that this just wasn't going to be the book for me. I think it's well written. There were some parts of the plot that I didn't like the biggest one being the beginning with Mare being in her village, if that's what it was, her town, and how she ended up making it to the palace. It seemed really fast-paced. There wasn't a lot of emotion behind the decision, it feels like. She just kind of was there and then wasn't there. The characters felt fairly two-dimensional. Mare was just kind of really whiny and just overall kind of mopey. Her love interests Like, it's kind of a love triangle, are Cal and Maven, and they were very two-dimensional as well. The first interaction that she had with Cal was very two-dimensional. It just fell really flat for me, and I'm really sad about it because I was very excited to pick up this book. I thought the concept was going to be really fun, but I just didn't love it. Even the side characters, they added just such little substance to the book. Yeah, I just didn't like it. I DNF'd it. I don't want to get too far into it because I just really don't like talking poorly about books. It makes me really sad because this is somebody's artwork. This is somebody's like prized possession. It's something that they put out into the world and spent years working on. And, you know, I am one person and I am one opinion. I am not some type of scholarly English, like my opinion is gospel, like person. It's literally, I didn't like this book because I just didn't vibe with it. I didn't like the characters. I didn't like the plot. I mean, that's the other thing with it is I didn't realize how dystopian this book was. I thought it was going to be a little bit more fantasy. And as I've gotten older, like, I loved dystopian books as a kid, but now that I'm older, I just really don't like them. I like a traditional fantasy kind of book. There were so many times where, like, she would talk about her fridge in her house and ration cards for electricity and things like that, and it just really took me out of the story because I was imagining something different. But like I said, like, I don't want to harp on this too much, and if this is a book that you're interested in, I definitely recommend picking it up. I've read a ton of books, but I am not a master of books. In my opinion, isn't it? And I really don't want to dog too much on something that somebody worked really, really hard on. I just didn't vibe with it. So that didn't help me get out of a reading slump. And I think right now I'm going to end this video where it's at. But I want to let you guys know I'm still continuing with like the prompt of like reading outside of the genre I have been reading, which is like I'm picking fantasy for that because it just, I'm kind of like in the mood for it. Even though I DNF'd this and I didn't like it, it's put me in a bit more of a fantasy mood. So I'm gonna pick up another fantasy that's been on my TBR since about April. So I decided to pick up The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen. I've read some of it so far. I'm enjoying this. The beginning of this is kind of, it's crazy. There's a lot going on in the beginning. So I'm gonna start this book and I'm gonna start it in a different vlog. So you guys will see this book in the video that comes after. So if you want to keep up to date of the books I'm reading and my reviews of them and just what's going on in my life, I recommend subscribing. I try and post every Saturday. You'll stay up to date on my reviews as well as my review for this book. So I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.